3 months ago, I flew hours to attend my sister's wedding. When I arrived at the venue, my own parents blocked the entrance and told me to seconds leave. Only family is allowed. My mom said, "You weren't invited." I stood there in the dress I'd picked seconds out 2 months earlier, holding the gift I'd wrapped the night before on my hotel bed, and watched my mother's face show seconds nothing. No guilt, no hesitation, just a door closing. I'd signed every vendor contract for that wedding. Every single seconds one, my name, my credit card. I'd paid the deposit months ago and never thought twice about it. Days later, she seconds called. Not to apologize. She called about a bill, $38,000. Seconds, and what I said next, she didn't expect it. Before I tell you what happened, please take a moment to like and second subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy this story. Also, drop your location and local time in the comments. Minute, seconds, I'd love to know where you're listening from. Now, let me take you back to last November, the day my sister announced minute, seconds her engagement. It was a Tuesday evening in London. November rain tapping against my apartment window. My phone buzzed minute, seconds with a FaceTime request from Brooke, my younger sister, 26, freshly graduated, still living from our parents in Cedar Bluff, Tennessee. I picked up. Minute, seconds, Brooke's face filled the screen, glowing. Minute, seconds, behind her, I could see our mother, Diane, arranging something on the kitchen counter. "I'm engaged," Brooke squealed, flashing a ring. Garrett, minute, seconds, proposed last night at the vineyard. It was perfect. I felt genuine happiness swell in my chest. "Brooke, that's amazing. Congratulations." Minute, seconds, thanks. Garrett's family is so excited. Minute, seconds, the Caldwells already offered their barn venue. Can you believe it? I knew the Caldwells. Everybody in Cedar Bluff did. Minutes, seconds, they owned the largest auto dealership chain in 3 counties. Garrett Caldwell was the youngest son. Polite, handsome, came from real money. Minutes, seconds, Mom, say hi to Athena, Brooke said, tilting the phone. Diane leaned into frame. She smiled, but it didn't quite minutes, seconds reach her eyes. "Hi, honey. Exciting news, right?" "It really is," I said. "I'll start looking at flights. When's the minutes, seconds date?" A pause. Diane glanced at Brooke, then back at me. "Oh, don't go spending a fortune on a plane ticket. It's just a minutes, second small wedding." "Mom, it's Brooke's wedding. I'm coming." "Well, we'll see." Minutes, seconds, Diane straightened up. "Anyway, we've got a lot of planning to do. I'll let Brooke fill you in." She disappeared from the minutes, seconds frame. Brooke chatted for another about flowers and color palettes. I listened and smiled and made minutes, seconds notes, but something sat heavy in my stomach. That was the first time in 2 years I had a reason to go home. I should have paid more attention to how minutes, seconds hard my mother was trying to keep me from it. Minutes, seconds, 2 weeks later, Diane called, not Brooke. Diane, on a Wednesday afternoon, which meant it was morning in Tennessee, minutes, seconds, and she'd been thinking about this since she woke up. "Athena, I need to talk to you about something practical." "Okay." The minutes, seconds venue requires a credit card on file to hold the reservation. "Your father and I minutes, seconds, well, you know, our credit isn't great after the refinance, and Brooke just graduated. She doesn't have the history." Minutes, seconds, I leaned back in my desk chair. I already knew where this was going. "The caterer needs the same thing," she minutes, seconds continued. "And the florist and the photographer. It's 4 contracts total." Minutes, seconds, we just need someone with good credit to sign. "You'd be doing your sister a huge favor." "How much are we talking?" Total minutes, second comes to about 41,000, but you'd only put down 3,500 as a deposit. The rest gets charged after the event. Minutes, $41,000 under my name. "Mom, that's a lot of money." Minutes, seconds, it's not your money, Athena. It's just your name on the paperwork. We'll handle the payments after. I promise I'll make minutes, seconds sure it all gets sorted. I'd heard that promise before. When I was 22, I co-signed a car loan for my father. Took minutes, seconds me 3 years to untangle that from my credit report. When I was 28, I wired Diane $4,000 for a plumbing emergency minutes, seconds that turned out to be Brooke's semester tuition. But this was my sister's wedding, and I was the older sister, the minutes, seconds one with the stable job, the good credit score, the London salary. Fine, I said. Minutes, seconds send me the contracts. I told myself this was what family does. I signed every document that week without reading minutes, seconds the fine print twice. Over the next 3 months, the wedding took shape and I watched it happen from the outside. Minutes, seconds Brooke created a group chat called Caldwell Wedding Crew. I wasn't added. I found out about it when she accidentally minutes. Seconds forwarded me a message for the chat, a photo of bridesmaid dress options with the caption, "Vote ladies." I wasn't 1 minute, seconds off the ladies. I called Brooke twice to ask about the dress code, the seating arrangement, whether she wanted me to prepare a toast. The first time she said minutes, seconds should get back to me. The second time she let it go to voicemail and texted an hour later. Super busy with planning. Minutes, seconds talk soon. I called Diane to ask if there was anything else I could help with. She said, "Everything's handled, honey. You don't need to worry about a minutes, seconds thing." I never received a formal invitation. Not a printed one, not a digital one. But I told myself that was minutes, seconds normal. I was the sister. You don't send your own sister an invitation. She's family. She's automatically included. Minutes, seconds then 2 weeks before the wedding, Brooke posted a photo on Instagram. Minutes, seconds rehearsal dinner at a restaurant in Cedar Bluff. Brooke in a white sundress surrounded by bridesmaids. Diane beaming minutes, seconds beside her. The caption read, "My whole family. My whole world." I stared at that minutes, seconds photo for. I counted. I wasn't in it. I hadn't been invited to the rehearsal dinner. I almost called minutes, seconds almost asked why, but I talked myself out of it. Maybe the rehearsal was just for the wedding party. Maybe they minutes, seconds assumed I couldn't make it early. Maybe I was overthinking it. I set my alarm for the next morning. I had a flight to minutes, seconds catch. I requested a full week of PTO. I only get days a year and I spent 5 of them on this trip. My round-trip minutes, seconds ticket, London to Chicago, Chicago to Nashville cost $1,400. Minutes, second the hotel in Cedar Bluff. 4 nights at the only decent place in town, $680. Minutes, seconds Brooke's wedding gift. A premium knife set she'd mentioned wanting during a random FaceTime months ago. $720. Total out of minutes, seconds pocket before I even touched Tennessee soil. $2,800. Minutes, seconds on the first leg of the flight, somewhere over the Atlantic, I pulled out my phone and opened the Notes app minutes. Seconds I'd been drafting a toast for weeks, nothing too long, maybe. I wanted to tell the story of how Brooke minutes, seconds used to make me play wedding with her stuffed animals when she was 5. How she'd always assign me the role of the priest, never the bride. I thought it was funny. I thought people would laugh. Minutes, seconds I practiced it twice with my headphones in, whispering into my scarf so the man in 14C wouldn't think I'd lost my mind. Minutes, seconds when we landed in Chicago for the layover, I texted Diane. Just landed in Chicago. 1 more flight. Can't wait to minutes, seconds see everyone. No response for. Then just before boarding the Nashville connection. Minutes, seconds okay, busy. See you tomorrow. Minutes, seconds 5 words. No exclamation point. No safe travels. No, we're excited. I stared at the text while the gate agent minutes, seconds called my boarding group. I almost screenshot it and sent it to my friend Leah in London with the caption, "Is this weird or am I crazy?" But I didn't. Minutes, seconds I put my phone away, boarded the plane, and told myself everything would be fine once I got there. Hours of travel, minutes, seconds 5 words back. I checked into the Magnolia Inn on a Friday night. Minutes, seconds the woman at the front desk smiled and asked if I was in town for the Caldwell Sinclair wedding. Apparently, the whole minutes, seconds town knew about it. I said, Yes. She said, "How lovely. You must be a friend of the family." I said, "Something like minutes, seconds that." The room was small but clean. I hung my dress in the closet, a deep navy number I'd found at a boutique in Covent Minutes, Seconds Garden. I set the wrapped knife set on the desk, propped my phone against the lamp, and called Brooke. It rang 4 minutes, seconds times, and went to voicemail. I texted Diane, checked in. "What time should I arrive at the venue tomorrow?" "Hour minutes. Seconds later. "Ceremony PM." That was it. "No, come early." "No, let's grab breakfast first." "No, your father wants to see you." Minutes, seconds. I sat on the edge of the bed and looked at myself in the mirror across the room. Minutes, seconds. I'd flown hours. I'd spent nearly $3,000. I'd signed $41,000 in contracts. Minutes, seconds, and my mother couldn't give me more than 2 words and a time. The last time I'd been in Tennessee was years ago for my minutes, seconds grandmother's funeral. Diane barely spoke to me then either. She spent the entire service whispering to Brooke and minutes, seconds greeting neighbors. At the reception afterward, someone asked Diane how many children she had. She said, "Just the minutes, seconds one, Brooke." I was standing 6 feet away holding a plate of potato salad. I ironed my dress that night like I was minutes, seconds preparing for a job interview, which in a way I was. I was auditioning to be part of my own family. I set the alarm minutes, seconds for, and turned off the light. I couldn't sleep. The Magnolia Inn had thin walls, and the couple next door was minutes, seconds watching a game show at full volume. But it wasn't the noise keeping me awake. It was the math. $2,800 for this trip. Minutes, $38,000 still pending on my credit card. Minutes, seconds. 6 years of sending money home every time Diane called with a new crisis. The water heater, Brooke's car insurance, the minutes, seconds property tax shortfall. I never added it all up. I was afraid to. But lying there in the dark, I did something worse. I minutes, seconds added up the other thing. The calls that never came. The birthdays where Diane texted HBD at PM or forgot minutes, seconds entirely. The Christmas I tried to FaceTime and no one picked up because they were at the Hendersons' holiday party and hadn't mentioned it. The graduation photos on Diane's mantle. Minutes, seconds. 3 of Brooke, 0 of me. If I kept going like this, kept paying and showing up and pretending the silence didn't minutes, seconds sting, what would I lose? Not money. I'd lose myself. I'd become the woman who buys her own seat at Thanksgiving and minutes, seconds still gets placed at the kids' table. The woman who writes checks and gets footnotes. But tonight, I chose to minutes, seconds believe one more time. Maybe tomorrow would be different. Maybe Diane was just stressed about the wedding. Maybe Brooke minutes, seconds was overwhelmed with last-minute details. Maybe when I walked in tomorrow, my mother would hug me and minutes, seconds say, "I'm so glad you're here." Maybe. I set my alarm and told myself, this is the last time I'll show up hoping for minutes, seconds something they've never once offered freely. Tomorrow, I'd find out whether hope was enough. I closed my eyes. Minutes, seconds. Sleep came slow and thin. Saturday, in the afternoon. Meadow Creek Barn sat minutes, seconds. Sun acres of rolling pasture just outside Cedar Bluff. White fences, fairy lights strung between the oak trees, a minutes, seconds. Gravel path lined with mason jars and wild flowers leading to the entrance. It looked like a magazine spread. I parked my rental car at the far end of the lot. Minutes, seconds. 30 or vehicles were already there. Minutes, seconds. Pickup trucks, sedans, a few luxury SUVs that screamed Caldwell money. Guests drifted toward the barn in clusters, minutes, seconds. Clutching programs and adjusting hats. I smoothed my dress, picked up the gift box, and walked toward the entrance. My minutes, seconds. Heels sank slightly into the gravel. The air smelled like fresh-cut grass and barbecue smoke from somewhere behind the minutes, seconds barn. I spotted my father first. Frank stood near the barn's double doors in a rented suit that didn't quite fit his minutes, seconds shoulders. He was shaking hands with an older man I didn't recognize, probably someone from the Caldwell side. When minutes, seconds. Frank looked up and saw me, his face changed. The polite smile dropped. His eyes went wide, then narrow, then down. Minutes, seconds at his shoes. He didn't wave. He didn't walk toward me. He turned and went inside. I kept walking. Yards from. Minutes, seconds. Their entrance. 10. The double doors opened from inside and my mother stepped. Minutes, seconds out. Diane wore a mother of the bride dress in champagne silk. Her hair was done. Her makeup was perfect. Her jaw. Minutes, seconds was set like concrete. She stopped directly in my path, hands clasped in front of her, not open, not welcoming. A barricade. Minutes, seconds. Athena. Her voice was low, controlled. Hi, Mom. I made it. She didn't hug me. Minutes, seconds. She didn't step aside. Minutes, seconds. What are you doing here? I'm here for Brooke's wedding. Mom, you need to leave now. The words landed like a slap. Minutes, seconds. Blinked. The gift box suddenly felt very heavy in my hands. What? I flew hours. Lower your voice. Minutes, seconds. Her eyes flicked to the guests passing behind me. People are watching. Minutes, seconds. Mom, I'm your daughter. Diane stepped closer. Close enough that I could smell her perfume. The same Estee Lauder she'd minutes, seconds worn my entire life. Her voice dropped to a whisper that cut deeper than any shout. Only family is allowed inside. Minutes, seconds. You weren't invited. I stood there. The gravel shifted under my heels. A couple in their 60s walked past, glancing at. Minutes, seconds. The woman smiled politely. Diane smiled back. The second they passed, her face reset to stone. Minutes, seconds. Not invited, I said. I signed every contract for this wedding. I paid the deposit. Minutes, seconds. This isn't about money. This is about what's appropriate. Appropriate. Athena, please don't make a scene. Minutes, seconds. Behind her, through the half-open barn door, I could see white chairs arranged in rows, garlands of eucalyptus draped. Minutes, seconds. From the rafters, a string quartet warming up near the altar, everything I'd funded with my signature. Minutes, seconds. Frank appeared in the doorway. He looked at Diane, then at me, then at the ground. He put his hands in his pockets and said nothing. Absolutely nothing. Minutes, seconds. From inside, a woman's voice called out, warm, southern, confident. Diane, whose minutes, seconds that? Everything all right? I saw Diane's spine straighten. I saw her paste on a fresh smile before she turned. Minutes, seconds. Halfway toward the voice. And that voice, I'd learn in about, belonged to Margaret Caldwell, the Minutes, seconds groom's mother, the woman who'd been told my mother only had one daughter. Minutes, seconds. Margaret Caldwell stepped through the barn doors in a lavender dress and pearls. She was tall, silver-haired, the kind of woman who runs the church Minutes, seconds auction and the county fundraiser, and still has time to arrange her own flowers. She carried herself like someone who'd never been embarrassed in Minutes, seconds public, not once. Diane, everything all right out here? Margaret's gaze landed on me. She smiled, open, expectant. Minutes, seconds. Diane turned on like a switch. Her voice went honey warm. Oh, it's nothing, Margaret. Just a distant relative who Minutes, seconds got the wrong venue. Happens with these big events. Minutes, seconds. Distant relative. She said it while looking right at me. Margaret studied my face. Oh, I thought you only had 1 minute, seconds daughter, Diane. The silence lasted maybe 2 seconds. It felt like 20 minutes, seconds. Diane laughed. A bright, brittle sound. I do. This is a cousin from out of town. Minutes, seconds. She's just confused about the schedule. Minutes, seconds. Margaret nodded slowly, glanced at me one more time, then touched Diane's arm. Minutes, seconds. Well, tell her the ceremony starts in. We should head in. Margaret went back inside. The barn doors swung. Minutes, seconds gently behind her. I looked at my mother. She looked at me. In her eyes, there was no guilt, no shame, no flicker. Minutes, seconds off, I'm sorry. I had no choice, just fear. Raw, cornered animal fear, the kind that comes when a lie you've been minutes, seconds feeding for months is about to choke you. A cousin, I said. Athena, please. You told them you only have 1 minute, seconds daughter. It's complicated. You wouldn't understand. How long have you been telling people I don't exist? She minutes, seconds didn't answer. She glanced toward the parking lot, willing me to disappear. Minutes, seconds that was when I understood. She didn't forget to invite me. She erased me. And she'd been doing it for years. Every minute, seconds muscle in my body wanted to walk through those doors, to stand in the middle of that ceremony and say loud enough for minutes, seconds Margaret and Garrett and every guest in the barn to hear. My name is Athena Sinclair. I am Diane's eldest daughter minutes, seconds and I paid for every flower, every plate, and every note that string quartet is playing. I didn't. I looked minutes, seconds at the barn, the fairy lights, the garlands, the soft golden glow through the windows. I looked at my mother, still standing in my path like a sentry. Minutes, seconds I looked at my father's shadow just inside the doorway, shoulders hunched, hands still in his pockets. And I made a minutes, seconds decision. I crouched down and set the gift box on the stone step gently, like minutes, seconds it mattered. Keep the gift, I said. It's for Brooke. Diane's shoulders dropped minutes, seconds half an inch. Relief. She thought it was over. Thank you, Athena. This is really minutes, seconds for the don't. I held up one hand. Don't explain. Don't justify. I heard you. I heard every word. Minutes, seconds I turned and walked back down the gravel path, past the mason jars, past the couple still arriving, holding hands, minutes, seconds laughing about the heat, past my rental car, and then to it. I opened the door, minutes, seconds sat down, closed it. Then I cried. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind. The kind minutes, seconds where your chest shakes, but your mouth stays shut. Because even alone in a parking lot, you've been trained not to make a scene. I sat there for maybe, seconds minutes. Through the open windows, I heard the string quartet begin Pachelbel's canon. The ceremony was minutes, seconds starting. I started the engine and pulled out of the lot. In the rearview mirror, Meadow Creek Barn shrank to a minutes, second speck of light. I didn't slam a single door. I didn't raise my voice once. I just left. And for the first time, minutes, seconds leaving felt like the strongest thing I'd ever done. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, Athena, why didn't you minutes, seconds just say it right there in front of everyone? Trust me, I asked myself that the entire drive back to the hotel. But minutes, seconds let me ask you something. If your mother looked you dead in the eye and called you a cousin in front of a stranger, minutes, seconds what would you do? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this story is hitting close to something real for you, hit that like button. It helps more than minutes, seconds you know. Now, back to the story. I drove back to the Magnolia Inn on autopilot. The roads were empty. Minutes, seconds everyone in Cedar Bluff was at the wedding, apparently. Inside my room, I kicked off my heels and sat on the bed, minutes, seconds still in my dress, mascara smudged, hands shaking. The toast I'd written was still open in my notes app. I closed it minutes, seconds without reading it. Then I opened my laptop. For emails sat in my inbox from the past 2 weeks. Confirmations from minutes, seconds vendors addressed to me as the contract holder. I'd skimmed them when they arrived. Now I read every word. Meadow minutes, seconds Creek Barn contract holder Athena Sinclair. Deposit paid $1,200. Minutes, seconds remaining balance $14,800. Due within 5 business days post-event. Minutes Southern Comfort Catering. Contract holder Athena Sinclair. Deposit paid $900. Minutes, seconds remaining balance $12,600. Due within 5 business days post-event. Minutes, seconds Blue Bonnet Floral Design. Contract holder Athena Sinclair. Deposit paid $800. Minutes, seconds remaining balance $6,200. Minutes, seconds Whitaker Photography contract holder Athena Sinclair deposit paid $600. Minutes, seconds remaining balance $4,400. Minutes, seconds I scrolled through each one. My name, my card number, my signature scanned and minutes, seconds attached in PDF. Every single contract structured the same way. Deposit upfront. Balance due after the event. Minutes, seconds total deposits already paid. $3,500. Minutes, seconds gone. Total outstanding balance. $38,000. Minutes, secondi closed the laptop, sat still. The barn was probably mid-reception by now. Minutes, seconds toasts being made, Diane hugging Brooke, Garrett spinning his bride on the dance floor, the Caldwells clinking glasses. Minutes, seconds with their new in-laws. All of it happening under contracts signed by someone they just called a cousin. I didn't make any calls that night. Minutes, seconds didn't fire off any emails. I just sat on that hotel bed and let the numbers repeat in my head. $38,000, minutes, seconds me name, their party. My phone rang at that night. The caller ID read, Aunt Ruth Mercer, my mother's minutes, second Soda sister, 62, retired school principal. The kind of woman who says exactly what she thinks and has never minutes, seconds once apologized for it. Diane called her difficult. Everyone else called her honest. Athena, where are you? I didn't minutes, seconds see you at the wedding. I was there, Aunt Ruth. I just didn't make it inside. Minutes, what do you mean you didn't make it inside? I told her. All of it. The blocked entrance, the whisper. Only minutes, seconds family, the word cousin, Margaret Caldwell's question, Diane's answer, minutes, second silence on the line, a long one. I could hear Ruth breathing slow, deliberate, the way she does when she's deciding minutes, seconds exactly how angry to be. She told them, you don't exist. Ruth's voice was flat, controlled, like a pot about to minutes, seconds boil. She said she only has one daughter. Lord have mercy. A pause. Minutes, Athena, listen to me. At the reception tonight, your mother stood up during the toast and said, and I'm quoting her, our minutes, seconds little family, Frank, myself, and our Brooke. She introduced the Sinclairs like that. I sat there and thought it minutes, seconds was strange. I almost said something. I wish I had. It's not your fault, Aunt Ruth. No, it's not. It's Jen's, and minutes, seconds she's going to hear about it. Another pause. Sharper now. Athena. Those vendor contracts, the ones for the wedding. Minutes, seconds whose name are they under? Mine. All of them. All of them. Ruth went quiet again. When she spoke, her voice had minutes, seconds shifted. Still angry, but with a thread of something harder underneath, something strategic. Minutes, seconds, then you listen to me, honey. Your mama told a room full of people, you don't exist. You don't owe that room a single cent. Minutes, second Sunday morning. I woke to a notification from Instagram. Brooke had posted a carousel of wedding photos, images. Minutes, seconds, the first was the two of them at the altar. Brooke in lace, Garrett in a charcoal suit, the barn glowing gold behind them. The second was the family minutes, seconds portrait. Frank, Diane, Brooke, Garrett, Margaret, and Richard Caldwell. 6 minutes, seconds people, 2 families joined, 1 family short a daughter. The caption surrounded minutes, seconds be everyone who matters. #Calwell forever. I read it 3 times. Then I minutes, seconds opened my email. The venue's invoice had come in overnight, automated, cheerful, with a little barn logo in the header. Minutes, seconds, thank you for choosing Meadow Creek Barn. Your remaining balance of $14,800 is due by Thursday, March 6th. Below it, minutes, seconds invoices from the caterer, the florist, the photographer, all timestamped Saturday evening, all addressed to minutes, seconds Athena Sinclair, all with 5-day deadlines. $38,000 due Thursday. I looked at the Instagram minutes, seconds post again. Everyone who matters. Then I looked at the invoices. Something shifted. Not a snap, not a sudden rage. Minutes, seconds are a dramatic decision. It was quieter than that, like a lock turning, like a door that had been stuck for years. Minutes, seconds finally clicking open. I wasn't angry, not yet. Anger would come later, in waves, in the middle of the night, In minutes, seconds the shower, during meetings I couldn't focus on. Right now in that hotel room on a Sunday morning in Cedar Bluff, Tennessee, I felt something simpler. Minutes, seconds clarity. I was the only person who paid for this wedding. I was the only person not in those photos. And I was the only minutes, seconds person receiving invoices for a party I'd been thrown out of. Something had to give. And it wasn't going to be me. Not minutes, seconds this time. Sunday afternoon. My phone buzzed with a voicemail from Brooke. Not a call. She didn't try to actually talk minutes, seconds me. She just left a message like she was checking off a task. I pressed play. Hey Athena. So the wedding was amazing. Minutes, seconds like. Literally perfect. The barn looked incredible. And Garrett's family was so sweet. Anyway, sorry things were kind of minutes weird yesterday. Mom said it was for the best. And honestly, I think she was right. It would have been a lot to explain, but I just wanted to say thanks for helping with the vendor stuff. Minutes, seconds seriously, you're the best, big sis. Minutes, seconds let's catch up soon. Okay. Love you. I listened to it twice. Sorry things were kind of weird. Not I'm sorry Mom turned minutes, seconds you away at the door. Not I should have stood up for you. Not. I had no idea I would have fought for you. Mom said it minutes, seconds was for the best. Brooke knew. She knew before the wedding. She knew Diane was going to turn me away and she signed off minutes, seconds on it. She probably helped plan it. And then that last line, you're the best big sis. I used to love hearing that. It minutes, seconds made me feel valued. Like all the sacrifices meant something. But sitting in that hotel room, mascara from yesterday, still faintly smudged on the minutes, seconds pillowcase. I heard it differently. She calls me that when she needs something, only when she needs something. I didn't minutes, seconds call her back. I didn't text. I set my phone face down on the nightstand and stared at the ceiling. The invoices were minutes, seconds due Thursday. My family had just told 120 people I didn't exist, and my sister had left me a voicemail that said, minutes, thanks for paying. I had days to decide who I was going to be. Sunday night, Magnolia Inn. The game show minutes, seconds couple next door had checked out. The hallway was dead quiet. I sat cross-legged on the bed with my laptop open and typed into the search bar. Am I minutes, seconds legally responsible for vendor contracts I signed for someone else's event? The answers were consistent. The person whose name is on the contract holds the minutes, seconds legal obligation, but the person whose name is on the contract also holds the authority. I could authorize payment. I minutes, seconds could decline it. I could redirect the invoices to the party that received the services. I picked up my phone and called Meadow Creek Barn. It rang 3 minutes, seconds times. Meadow Creek, this is Julie. Hi, Julie. My name is Athena Sinclair. I'm the contract holder for the Caldwell Minutes, Second Sinclair event this past Saturday. Oh, yes, Miss Sinclair. Beautiful event. Minutes, seconds what can I help you with? I need to inform you that I will not be authorizing the final payment on this contract. I was not present at the event minutes, seconds and I'm formally requesting that the outstanding balance be redirected to the event hosts. A pause. Oh, okay. I'll minutes, seconds need to pass this to our manager, but can I ask, is there a dispute? No dispute. I'm simply not authorizing the minutes, seconds charge. The invoice should go to the Sinclair family in Cedar Bluff. Julie took my email, confirmed the request, minutes, seconds and said someone would follow up Monday morning. I hung up and called the caterer. Same script, same calm voice, minutes, seconds same result, then the florist, then the photographer. 4 calls. Total. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten. Minutes, seconds I didn't explain why. I just said one word over and over, politely and firmly. Minutes, seconds no. When I was done, I closed my laptop, brushed my teeth, and slept through the night for the first time in 2 days. Minutes, seconds Monday morning, I changed my flight. Minutes, seconds instead of staying through Wednesday like I'd planned, I booked the first available seat back to London. A minutes, sequencer.m. Departure through Atlanta. I packed in, checked out of the Magnolia Inn before dawn. The same front minutes, seconds desk woman was on shift. She smiled and asked, "How was the wedding?" "Memorable, minutes, seconds," I said. The drive to Nashville took hours. On the way, I passed through Cedar Bluff one last time. Main Street minutes, seconds was quiet, just the diner, the hardware store, the Baptist church where I got baptized at 12. I drove past the house I minutes, seconds grew up in. The porch light was still on. I could picture what was happening inside. Diane at the kitchen table with coffee still high on the reception. Minutes, seconds Frank reading the paper. The house full of leftover wedding cake and congratulations cards. My name not minutes, seconds mentioned once. When I was 10, Diane told me, "Athena, you're the big sister." Minutes, seconds you have to be strong for Brooke. I'd been strong for years. I'd been strong through Brooke's childhood minutes, seconds illness, the meningitis scare that reshaped our entire family dynamic. I'd been strong through every financial crisis, minutes, seconds every unanswered call, every holiday I spent alone in London, pretending the time difference was the reason, not the minutes, seconds distance. I turned onto the highway and didn't look back. Hours later, I minutes, seconds landed at Heathrow. Grey sky, drizzle, the most beautiful weather I'd ever seen. I turned on my phone in the minutes, seconds arrivals hall. No missed calls, no texts. Nobody in Cedar Bluff had noticed I was gone or cared enough to check, but minutes, seconds they'd notice soon. The vendors would start making calls by Tuesday. The invoices would land by Wednesday, and then my phone would ring. I was sure of minutes, seconds that. Tuesday 3:00 p.m. London time, 9:00 a.m. Tennessee. My phone rang. Mom on minutes, seconds the screen. I let it ring 3 times, then I picked up Athena. "Hi, honey." Minutes, seconds sweet, light, the voice she uses when she wants something. "How was your flight back?" "Fine, good, good." "Listen, I just got the strangest call from the venue." Minutes, seconds they said you removed your payment authorization. The bill is $38,000. Minutes, seconds how do we handle this? "We don't handle it, Mom. You handle it." A beat of silence. "Excuse me." Minutes, seconds I removed my authorization because I'm not responsible for an event I wasn't invited to. "Athena, don't be dramatic." Minutes, seconds you know, this was just a misunderstanding. We can talk about it. Minutes, seconds you told Margaret Caldwell I was a distant relative. You told her you only have one daughter. That's not a misunderstanding, Mom. That's a choice. Minutes, seconds longer silence now. I could hear her breathing change, the sweetness evaporating. "After everything I've done minutes, seconds for you," she said, "this is how you repay me. You raised me. I'm grateful for that. But you also stood in front of minutes, seconds your daughter, and told a stranger she doesn't exist. Those two things can both be true. You're blowing this out of proportion. $38,000. Minutes, seconds that's the proportion. Minutes, seconds your father is stressed. His blood pressure. If something happens to him, that's on you. Dad stood right there and said nothing. Minutes, seconds he made his choice, too. Silence. I could hear her swallow. "You said I wasn't family," I said. "So, the family's bill is the family's responsibility." Minutes, seconds the line went dead. She hung up. No goodbye, no argument, just a click and minutes, seconds silence. I set my phone on the kitchen counter and stared at it. My hands were steady. My heartbeat was normal. And the minutes, seconds apartment was quiet. Really genuinely quiet for the first time in months. She minutes, seconds called back later. Different tone this time. No honey, no sweetness. Minutes, seconds full throttle. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" "Yes." "The venue is calling minutes, seconds me. The caterer is calling me. I'm getting invoices forwarded to my email with your name crossed out and mine written in. Do you know how humiliating minutes that is? I imagine it's about as humiliating as being called a cousin at your own sister's wedding." That is not minutes, seconds the same thing. You're right. Yours costs $38,000. Minutes, seconds I raised you. I fed you. I drove you to school every single day for years. Minutes, seconds and now, because of one little misunderstanding, you're going to bankrupt your own family. It wasn't a misunderstanding. Fine. Fine. Athena, minutes, seconds you want to play this game? I'll tell everyone. I'll tell the whole town what kind of daughter abandons her family over money. Go ahead. I'd rather be the minutes, seconds daughter you badmouth than the daughter you pretend doesn't exist. That stopped her. I heard her pull in a breath. Minutes, seconds sharp, involuntary, like she'd walked into cold water. You don't mean that, she said. Quieter now. I do. Another minutes, seconds long pause. Then the final weapon. The one she always keeps in reserve. Your father could have a heart attack over minutes, seconds this. If he ends up in the hospital, that blood is on your hands. There it was. The trump card. Dad's health. The minutes, seconds guilt grenade. She'd thrown it at me when I moved to London. When I skipped Thanksgiving, when I stopped sending money without being asked. Dad's health is between him and his doctor, I said. Minutes, seconds not me and my credit card. She hung up again. This time, I didn't stare at the phone. I put the kettle on and made a minutes, seconds cup of tea. By Wednesday, Diane had activated what I call the family phone tree. Every branch, every twig. Brooke minutes, seconds called first, crying. The big, messy, theatrical kind she's perfected since childhood. Minutes, seconds Athena, please. Garrett and I just got married. We don't have $38,000. Minutes, seconds if you don't pay, we have to. We're starting our lives together and you're ruining it. Brooke, did you know Mom told the Caldwells I don't exist? A minutes, second sniffle, a pause. I mean, she said it would be easier that way with the Caldwells. You know, they're traditional minutes, seconds and having a daughter overseas who's not married and easier. It wasn't personal, Athena. It was just simpler. Minutes, seconds you knew before the wedding. I didn't think they'd actually turn you away, but you didn't stop them. Silence. More minutes, second sniffling. Then can we please just focus on the bill? Garrett's parents are asking questions. Then maybe it's time minutes, seconds someone gave them honest answers. She hung up. Frank called that afternoon. My father almost never calls. He emails minutes, seconds once in a while. Short factual messages about weather or football scores. Minutes, seconds hearing his voice on the phone felt strange, like picking up an old tool you'd forgotten you owned. Athena, your minutes, seconds mother is very upset. I know. Can you be flexible on this for the family? Dad, did you know she told people I'm not minutes, second your daughter? A long exhale. The sound of a man who spent years choosing the path of least resistance. Minutes, seconds that's not exactly what happened. Were you there when she called me a distant relative right in front of me? Nothing. Minutes, seconds then very quietly, a click. He hung up. Minutes, seconds every single one of them hung up when the questions got real. I was starting to see a pattern, and it looked a lot like a family that preferred silence to minutes. He didn't explain why he'd spent decades choosing peace over his own daughter, minutes, seconds, but it was honest. And it was the first honest thing anyone in my family had said to me since this started. I didn't minutes, seconds reply right away. I needed time. A week later, I wrote back. Dad, thank you. Minutes, seconds that means more than you know. I'm not ready to come home or to pretend everything is fine, but I read your email and I'll keep reading it. Athena, minutes, seconds short, careful, leaving the door open exactly in. Not wide enough to be walked through, but not locked. He minutes, seconds didn't write back. I didn't expect him to, but he'd said it, and I'd heard it. Minutes, second 6 months have passed since that Saturday at Meadow Creek Barn. I got promoted. Senior software engineer at the fintech company I've been with for minutes, seconds 4 years. My boss cited leadership under pressure in the review. She didn't know the half of it. I started seeing a minutes, seconds therapist, not because of the wedding, because of the years before it. We've been unpacking something she calls functional over-responsibility. Minutes, seconds the belief that if I perform well enough, sacrifice enough, carry enough, the people I love will finally see me. Minutes, seconds it's the engine that powered every check I wrote, every flight I booked, every time I said fine when I meant this hurts. Minutes, seconds I video call Aunt Ruth every other Sunday. She makes coffee, I make tea, and we talk for an hour about everything. Minutes, seconds and nothing. She keeps me updated on Cedar Bluff. Not to gossip, but so I'm not blindsided. Minutes, seconds Diane and Frank have paid off 12,000 of the 38. They used a chunk of their retirement savings. The rest is on the minutes, seconds Sloane Brooke and Garrett took out. The monthly payments are a source of tension in the Caldwell-Sinclair household. Minutes, seconds Garrett's parents are civil but distant. Margaret still hasn't forgiven Diane. Brooke and Garrett are still married. Minutes, seconds Ruth says they're in counseling. She says, Garrett's a decent man who's trying, but the foundation cracked on day one, and cracks like that don't seal minutes, seconds easily. Diane hasn't called me, hasn't emailed, hasn't sent so much as a text. Minutes, seconds Ruth says she refers to the situation as Athena's tantrum. Minutes, seconds I suppose that's easier than calling it what it is. I don't hate my mother. I've spent a lot of therapy hours making sure of that, but I've stopped pretending her minutes, seconds version of love didn't hurt. It did. And pretending otherwise was killing me slowly, one signed contract at a time. Minutes, seconds I'm not telling you this story so you'll hate my mother. She's flawed. She's scared. She built an image of a perfect minutes, seconds family because the real one felt like it wasn't enough. And somewhere along the way, I became the piece that didn't fit minutes, seconds the frame. That's not an excuse. It's just what happened. Minutes, seconds and I think part of growing up is accepting that the people who raised you are also just people stumbling through minutes, seconds their own fears and failures. But I'm telling you this story because maybe you're living a version of it. Maybe minutes, seconds you're the one who flies hours literally or metaphorically to show up for people who won't hold the door open. Minutes, seconds for you. Maybe you're the one signing the contracts, covering the costs, absorbing the silence, and calling it minutes, seconds love because you don't know what else to call it. I did that for a long time. I called it duty. I called it family. I minutes, seconds called it being the bigger person. And every time I wrote a check or swallowed an insult or pretended the empty chair minutes, seconds at the table didn't bother me, I lost a little piece of myself. A boundary isn't punishment. It's not revenge. It's not a minutes, seconds weapon. A boundary is the moment you say, I'm worth more than this. And then you act like it. $38,000. Minutes, seconds that's what my freedom cost. And I don't regret a single penny I didn't pay. If you're the one who always pays minutes, seconds emotionally, financially, spiritually for a seat at a table that was never built for you, maybe it's time to build minutes, seconds your own table and sit at the head of it. I didn't lose my family that day at Meadow Creek Barn. I found myself and minutes, seconds honestly, she was worth the wait. Thank you for staying until the end of this one. It means a lot. I want to ask you, minutes, seconds if you were me, would you have paid the $38,000 or would you have drawn the line? Minutes, seconds drop pay or boundary in the comments. Minutes, seconds I'll be reading every single one. If this story touched something real in you, hit like and subscribe. I share minutes, second stories like this every week about family, about boundaries, about finding your voice when the people closest to minutes, seconds you try to silence it. And if you want more, check the description for another story I think you'll connect with. I'll see you in the next one.